Hey, my guest today is Danielle Orsino, a nurse turned fantasy author, cosplayer, and martial artist whose books transport readers into vibrant new worlds. Featured on the Tamron Hall show as an indie author to watch, Danielle brings creativity, resilience, and passion to everything she does. Welcome to the podcast, Danielle.
So much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Daniel, September is a month that encourages us to pick up a new book. What book do you recommend readers start with this month and why?
Well, I would love for you to start with Locked Out of Heaven, my first book in the Legacies of Light and Dark series. I think that would be a great book for everyone to get lost in. It's kind of the gateway into the fantasy world. I'm not heavy epic fantasy, I'm mythic fantasy. And I think it's a good book for everybody to just kind of forget about the real world, which I think we all need to, no matter where we're at. So I would love everybody to pick up that book and kind of find out where the Fae and where fallen angels all meet and come together.
Wow. Uh, Thanks for that recommendation. I'm curious, how did storytelling in the hospital room eventually blossom into your fantasy series?
I would never have guessed a patient needing a distraction would end up here. It was just something that kind of happened. I was telling a patient needed a distraction because he just did not want to drip anymore. He was going through IV infusion treatments and basically didn't want to do it. So one day we were sitting there and he was like, well, keep me in this chair because I don't want to be here. And that turned into us just sharing some personal details. And out of his mouth came, well, I was recruited by the CIA out of college. And I'm like, how did I not find this out after a year and a half? And so we kind of exchanged conspiracy theories about things. And then for some reason, I said, well, you know where Lyme disease comes from? And he was like, yeah. And then once again, bunch of conspiracy theories. And I said,
Yeah.
no, the Fae. I have no idea why. I wasn't reading any books about the Fae, nothing like that. And then I just started telling a tale. And
Wow.
out of his mouth, he was like, go write this down, go home and go write this down. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to go to physician assistant school. I'm not interested in writing. And yet here I am 5 years later, 8 books, ninth on the way, and I'm writing. So
Yeah.
you never know what the universe has in store.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you followed the nudge, and now you've written 8 books in the series. Uh, why do you think reading your stories is so important for empathy, healing, and imagination? Of course, that's where your book started from.
I think in my case in particular, just I think reading in general is always interesting for empathy because you're seeing it from different points of view. So I always think reading is that extra step toward empathy, which, let's face it, we're lacking in society today in general. And as you know, humanity, I think, is lacking. For me, for my books, it was something that because I was not a classically trained writer, in the sense that I do not have a degree in creative writing. I don't have a degree in English lit, nothing like that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I haven't read Pride and Prejudice. I know there's a bunch of people that are going to be like, oh my gosh. I don't read the classics. I read comic books, which I think you can learn a lot from. But superheroes are my heroes. I took a lot of the writing from interpersonal dynamics and my everyday life. So the stories, whether my characters have fins, tails, are angels or not, are still about just how I interact. So that's where I think the empathy comes from. It's just my own dealing with my emotions. It's pretty much cathartic for me personally. So I think that's where there's a certain story to be told within the story because it is emotional baggage that I'm kind of getting rid of. And when you look at the relationships we all have. For example, Aurora and Serena, that's me and my best friend Jen. When they're having their girl talk on the beach, and while they're talking about royal political intrigue issues, that's me and Jen when we were 16 and we thought we knew it all, having our talks on the beach at Fawnstock. That's that girlfriend relationship in the sense that the world could be burning and Jen will still be cheering me on, being like, you can do it. And we could be going down in flames, but she will be by my side. It's the same relationship between Aurora and Serena. Very much in the book, these relationships are things I've had or I've wanted and I've seen. So there is that empathetic relationship and dynamic in just also as an observer. So I think it's something people can learn. And because I write from the omniscient point of view, you're getting into everyone's head.
Yeah.
So it's almost what you wish you could do sometimes, where you're like, I wish I knew
Yeah.
what the other person was thinking to kind of, get through that miscommunication. It's almost that. And I do have the miscommunication trope. I think sometimes you need those things to learn from and go, man, if they would just talk it out. And then you kind of go, that situation where I could have just talked it out, it's reflected back. So I think it's kind of important in those senses.
Yeah. One of the key things I noticed about your profile is you've gone from being a nurse to martial artist to author. I'm curious, in the order, is it in the order of nurse to martial artist to author, or am I getting that order? What's the order?
The order is martial artist, nurse, author. So I beat them up, then I patch them up, and then I write about it. A little different.
How have those experiences shaped your writing as a nurse and a martial artist?
For martial arts, it's definitely a discipline. That's helped. It's helped tremendously in the fight scenes. All my fight scenes, I do not have big sweeping battle scenes. Nobody's riding horseback and doing these 500, people battling things because I don't have experience in that. I don't ride horseback. I don't shoot a bow and arrow. I don't understand that. But I
Yeah.
do know how to work a sword. I do know how to work size. There are certain weapons I know. So I will write about those things. I will fight close combat. I videotape all my fight scenes. I set up my iPhone, I go outside, and I will choreograph it and videotape it and then change the angle. So I will do it from the attacker's point of view and then from the person being attacked, and then watch it back and decide how do I want to write it now? What's going to be better for my audience? That's all
Oh,
martial arts. That's where it came from.
wow. I love that. That's intense.
Oh yeah, it's a
Wow.
it's a little intense. I mean, the bloopers are great. My puppies are my stunt crew. I joke that they're my guys, because sometimes I have to put them where people would be and be like, just stay there for a second, So it's a lot of fun. But then the nursing gives me the physiology background and the anatomy. How
Yeah.
would the body go?
Oh,
Because you always see it where people are like, "Oh, the body goes flying," and you're like, "Actually, it would fall forward, wouldn't go back." So it does give me a little bit more of a realistic point of view, which I really love, but it also keeps me in a sense in a box. 'Cause I don't do those big fight scenes because I kind of can't get my brain around it. So I do keep them a little bit smaller. I usually don't have more than 5 people in a fight scene because it's hard for me to go beyond that. I keep it to like when I used to do tag team sparring and things like that. So I can keep it more in what I've done than go outside of that.
wow. I like that. Earlier on, we talked about you moving from nurse to martial artist to author, and yeah, the experiences and how they carried on to writing. I'm curious, what was the exact? Can you share with us the exact moment you realized the story needed to leave the IV room and become a published?
I don't know if there were moments I always joke that the universe was throwing like pebbles at my head, saying you're on the wrong path. Go write the book. And I was kind of like, no, no, leave me alone. I'm going to do this. Like I had it in my head to go the logical path because I'd been a martial artist for so long and I had been competing. And at the end of the day, you can't make money that way unless you're going to translate to Hollywood, which I had started doing stunt work, but I'm 5'1" and I weigh 100 pounds.
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
There's only so far I'm going to get with that, where it was like, I have to go the logical route. So I went with nursing. And I was so determined to stay on that path that I was missing the signs and the signals where I was having allergic reactions to medications that I was actually giving people and mixing.
Oh,
I was breaking out in hives. And it was always like, oh, well, this is a basement, or we don't have a great, filtration system. Like I had all these excuses. I finally went into anaphylactic shock because I had a needle stick. And the
oh,
exact drug I was giving people almost killed me. You would think that would have been like, my light bulb moment. No, I pressed on. Um, It was soon after that that I got into a PA program, and they were like, "You can't mix bedside." They were like, "We don't mix bedside anymore. It's done in the pharmacy, but should an emergency and should you do an ER rotation and it have to be done, you can't mix this class of drugs because you are so allergic to it. It's like a girl with a peanut allergy working in a peanut butter making factory."
Yeah.
They were like, "This is bad." And I was like, huh, maybe I really should think about writing that book. It was that moment of just, but I was still like, nope, I could work around
Yeah.
this. And it took a couple more times. And then finally I was like, maybe I'm on the wrong path. But there was still that piece of me that was like, I put all this money into the prereqs and into my degree. I still didn't want to do it. It was,
Yeah.
but I think it was also my husband reading the rough drafts and going, there's something to this. And he was not a big fantasy reader. And he was like, this isn't half bad. And I was like, okay. He's like, it needs polishing, but let's think about this. And then when I got into one of the programs, they needed a $20,000 deposit in 10 days. I had to make a decision. And I called uh, the admin person, and he just said, he goes off the record. He's like, I remember you. You have bright red hair. I go, yeah. He goes, do yourself a favor, bet on red. Don't come here. He's like, don't do healthcare. And
Wow.
I was like, okay. And that's when I just made the
Yeah.
transition and made the decision.
Wow. That was gradual. A series of moments and events that eventually led you to the path you are now. Since you've made the switch, uh, what surprised you about becoming an author that's went contrary to your expectations,
I
whether good or bad?
think that's hard. There's been a lot that has surprised me. I always knew it was going to be hard. I did not realize the marketing end of it, how difficult that part is. Uh, they always joke when you see the iceberg, it's just the tip and then everything underneath. That's kind of
Yeah.
what it is. It's like you write your book and you think, I've done it. This is so great. Oh my God, that's not even half of it. Writing the book, it's almost like that's the easy part.
Yeah.
Getting it out there, that's really hard. There are so many scams. I've been traditionally published. I am now on my own for a very good reason.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, my dream is to be with a publisher. And I'm like, really? I like having control. I like knowing if I'm not making money that month and I haven't sold anything, I like knowing that that's honest versus, oh, I sold 500 books. I'm getting 45 cents, because I have to pay the editor. I have to pay this. I have to pay that. The amount of royalties you get when you are with a publisher is like, I mean, I saw one of my royalty statements one month and I was like, huh? How do I still owe you money? So, the business side of it has surprised me greatly. They are no longer giving you like $10,000 advances and you're like, I'm going to go in a cabin and write. Yeah, that don't exist no more. And I do not believe any of the true Hollywood stories about these authors, that are sitting at the top of the mountain and being like, it just happened. And now I make millions. Now I know what really happened. And now I'm like, oh no, your publisher went out and gave 2,000 books to the libraries and then went paid, 20 grand to Barnes and Nobles to get you an end cap. Like now I know the business side and I'm like, oh, that's how it goes. So you got to hustle. But
Yeah.
I love what I do. I love hearing that somebody picked up my book and had a good time. So it's a trade off on both sides.
Yeah. There's something I'd love for you to explain to me and to the listeners. You're one of the few authors to appear on your own book cover in cosplay. I still don't know what's cosplay, and what does that mean?
Uh, Cosplay, you can see it at any Comic Con and things like that. Cosplay is just an expression of your fandom, is pretty much what it is. It's your interpretation of a character. If you're a fan of Wonder Woman, you may do a Victorian style or a steampunk Wonder Woman, or maybe you're doing the Linda Carter version and you're just embodying the character. I've cosplayed for years at Comic Con, different events. I was asked to do a photo shoot of my characters years ago, and people saw the pictures, and that's how I wound up on the covers when I was with one of my first publisher, my traditional publisher. And I made all the costumes that you see on those limited edition covers. So I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I got the nickname the Fabio of Fantasy. It was great. Uh, But yeah, it was a lot of work. I was not paid for any of that. So all those cosplay covers that are out there that are still roaming about, people are like, "Oh, you made that armor, you did this." And I'm like, "Yeah, I was out of my own pocket." Cosplay is not cheap. We spend a lot of time on those, but it was a ball. I had a great time doing that. It's a lot of fun to embody characters you write. You learn a lot about them,
Yeah.
which is what I do love. I got to be Queen Aurora, Serena the Mermaid, Desdemona, Captain of the Royal Guards, Asa, third in command of the Dark Fae. So I've gotten to be Lady Danius, Warden of the Butterflies. I've gotten to be like a lot of my characters, which is
Yeah.
really, really cool. My dragons have been on the covers, who were illustrated by Pandy Van, this amazing dragon illustrator. So it's been great. And I've learned, no capes, kind of Edna Mole, no capes. We don't do capes because they don't fight well. So you learn so much. And I do think it helps in writing. But would I do it again? I would do it differently. But at the
Okay.
end of the day, I still love cosplay. I mean, I'll
Okay.
dress up as Harley Quinn. You don't need, I'll go do it going to the grocery store. You don't need to give me an excuse to grab my Harley mallet and head out. I'll cosplay anytime.
Oh, what about the connection with your readers? As one who, yeah, as being the author who cosplays the character from the book. You talked about why you do it, but what about uh how's the reception from your readers been?
It was funny. A lot of people did not know it was me. They had no idea. It wasn't until people met me. I remember I was at a Comic Con and I was dressed up actually as Firestar because it was Chris Claremont was there. And a reader was standing next to me clutching my first book. And she goes and she points to the book and she goes, "She's going to be here." And she's pointing at my book. I went, "Yeah, I know." And she goes, "I'm going to meet her." And I'm looking at her. I go, "Uh huh." I go, "She's me." And she looked at the book and looked at me and kept looking at the book and went, "No." I went, "That's my book."
Wow.
And she goes, "She's blonde." And I went, "No, that's a wig, sweetie." I go, "This red hair ain't even real." I go, "I got jet black hair naturally." I was like, "I haven't seen it in 10 years, but no, this isn't even real." And then she was like staring at me. She went, "That's you." And I'm like, "That's what I've been trying to tell you. That's me." And she wanted me to prove it. And then she kind of looked the face again and went, "Oh," and took off my Firestar mask and I was like, "It's me." And then she was like, "Oh," and it took a second. So most people did not recognize me from the covers at all,
Yeah.
which was kind of fun because it gives me a little anonymity. Um, but the reception was nice. And then I've had some horrible receptions. I mean, I have people on Instagram can be mean. I don't know if you know this about social media,
Yeah.
but they can be a little mean out there. And I've had people, especially the first cover, I've had people say stuff like, "She looks like Phoebe from Friends and not in a good way." I still to this day don't know what that means. I've heard a cheap Lady Gaga. I've heard a lot of stuff where I'm like, "Damn, guys, like, okay, we could go a little nicer on that." Like, there are no filters on that. You get that. Like, that
Yeah.
was one of my stipulations was no filters. Like, you can't airbrush me out. This is what I look like. They played with my lips a little bit. That gave me some, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little sensitive about that. A little insecure, but it was always supposed to be me because I'm not 20. And yeah, people went in hard, a little hard on that. But overall, reception was pretty good. But it's weird when you're on the cover and your heart and soul's inside. You're
Yeah.
getting judged on both ends. So when the limited editions ran out, I was kind of like, "Okay, now we can get back to it." Because it was a little, you were getting it from both ends.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's a surreal experience to stand and see someone talk about your book and talk about the author. That's you, but you stand and you're like, oh yeah, that's lovely. Yeah. Oh, she's going to be like, it's. I ge- I don't
It
explain it like
is.
it's yeah, it is yeah. It's a lovely experience to have someone praise you, not knowing that you are the one they're praising. That's basically praising you behind your back. It's you, it's genuine, and not trying to like, oh yeah, let me say something nice to her, so she'll think like I like her.
It was a very
Uh,
authentic moment. It was very genuine. It was very authentic. I think I wound up giving her like another book for free. Like I was, she only had book one. I was like, "Here's book two." I'm like, "Just take it." It's
yeah,
you wind up doing that. I've done that before where when I find somebody so genuine, and I think I'm also so happy somebody picked up the book. I'm still in that stage where I'm like, "Really? You spent money on my book and you read it?" I'm like, "Here, what do you want? What can I give you?" I'm like, "Do you want the shirt off my
Yeah.
back?" I remember somebody came up to me, I was at some book event, and they were like, "I follow you on Instagram, I love," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Here's a crown." And I just gave, and she was looking at me, she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Just take the crown. Just take it, have fun." And they were looking at me like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, really." And a friend looked at me, they were like, "You just gave away one of the crowns we're supposed to be selling." I'm like, "She read the book." And she's like, "People do that, you know that, right? Like, they read your book." And I'm like, well, she was excited. They were like, once again, they were like, "They're supposed to be." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I still can't
yeah.
wrap my head around that people read it." I'm not there. There's a little imposter syndrome still going on where I'm like, "So I'm supposed to be selling this. I write it so people can read it." Yeah. I still can't believe people pick it up.
Yeah, especially in this day and age where there are 1,000 things that they could possibly be doing at any given moment. Further, they choose to invest their time on your book and not just the money aspects. It means a lot to you.
When people stop to pick up the book because it's their time and it's their money, I'm still in shock. I'll be 100% honest with you. I
Yeah,
am still so grateful. And I think that's something that's missing in the literary world. I still see some gatekeeping that people are like, "I'll let you read my book." I'm the opposite. I'm like, "Please, please, here I am on Instagram, DM Orsino author. Come on over. I'm on Amazon." But at the back of all my books, it tells you if you read the book and you review it, I will give you a gift. And it's not that I'm begging for reviews. I'm just so happy you did it. If you screenshot that on Amazon and send it to me, there's there is instructions on how to do it. I send gifts because I'm like, "You really did it? You really read it? And you took the time to review it? Here, what do you want? Here."
yeah.
I give gifts out because I'm just like, "You spent money on me. Thank you." So
Oh,
I'm just grateful to anybody.
oh. Thank you so much, Dania. If someone listening picks up your book as part of National Reading New Book Month, what do you hope they'll feel or take away when they turn the last page?
I hope that they will walk away with a sense of wonder, a little bit release from their everyday life. And I hope it tugs at their heartstrings a little bit and they'll feel like they stepped into a world and walked out with maybe a new fantastic friend in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a dragon, a mermaid, a fae. Maybe they got a crush on my dark fae king. I'm cool with that. But either way, I hope that they leave with a newfound friend and that the Legacies of Light and Dark series is something they want to keep returning to find something new in it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Once again, would you be so kind to mention the name of the book and where we can get a copy of the book?
Surely. It's the first book is Locked Out of Heaven. You can get it on Amazon. It's also available in Audible, Barnes and Nobles. And you can just check me out on my website at dmorsino, orsino.com, or just go to Instagram. It's where I'm most active at dmorsino author. All the books are there, the entire series. And then I have a new one coming out in November, which is volume 2.
Oh, thank you so much, Daniel. It's been an absolute delight to listen to you talk about the inspiration behind you writing the book and the experience so far.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.